I am presenting our seizure counting tool that we call the EEG patch. And it is a discrete, waterproof device that you can shower with, and it records EEG for 7 days and is used to augment seizure diaries and help patients who have a hard time reporting seizures to report their seizures to their epileptologist. It is self-contained, so it attaches to the scalp. It has an adhesive and conductive hydrogels. It's meant to be used after a diagnosis so we know where to put it, and it records the EEG continuously throughout the day, going about your daily activities. It records all the data to the device. It also wirelessly transmits, but only a very short distance. So we have a handheld that you can bring close to it to check the signal quality in real time, and also check the impedance to make sure that it's still recording quality data. After the 7 days, we're thinking that the model would be that in one case the device would be sent to a third party, and that third party reviews the EEG and creates a report that's part of electronic medical records with the EEG available. It's really meant to be a long-term reporting system. So over the course of a week, there may be some variabilities or triggers that cause seizures, and we would be able to catch those. And you could use them for multiple consecutive weeks to get a large report. It reports just the standard EEG, like one channel of EEG in a wired EEG system. In a lot of cases, it's hard to know if they had a seizure, especially for absence seizures, which are generalized seizures. In that case, we could probably place the device just about anywhere on the scalp and record these events. But what is hard for the person with the epilepsy to be able to do is record how often do they occur, how many times. Sometimes they have a lot of these seizures at night, and so they don't even know that they're having these seizures. And I think a lot of the data that has shown that this is a huge need has come from the NeuroVista trial where they had implanted EEG for long periods of time and recorded. It's to be able to count seizures in those who are having a hard time counting seizures. So they either have complex partial seizures where they may not even know that they had a seizure, or they remember that they had a seizure but shortly thereafter forget. For those who don't have the mental faculties to be able to keep a seizure diary, and especially for children and neonates, and also those who predominantly have nocturnal seizures at night, those who are at risk for SUDEP, and so forth. Currently, there's no FDA-cleared device for counting seizures. There will be soon, some based on EMG, some based on the electrodermal response and other metrics. But our device would specialize in those seizures that wouldn't necessarily evolve into a convulsion. What we're doing now is we are first showing that it works, that we can record seizures, and specifically that a well-placed single channel of EEG is effective for counting seizures. And the way we're doing that is in the epilepsy monitoring unit at the University of Colorado. Patients will be wired up with a standard wired EEG system, and then we'll place 4 of our patches in different locations between the wired electrodes. And then they're there for 3 to 7 days. Ideally, they want those people to have at least 2 seizures. And it's the standard video EEG monitoring. The idea is that if the 2 wired electrodes are recording seizure activity and our patch is in between, then we want to be able to say, yes, our patch is also recording that seizure activity. And especially those with focal epilepsy where the seizures aren't spreading across the brain, we want to be able to show that, again, a well-placed single channel is effective and figure out how far off we can be from that seizure focus and still detect the seizures. We still have a few hurdles to overcome. One of the places that I want to go is that any new anti-epileptic drug that is developed is tested in patients, and the primary outcome measure is self-reporting. And there's been many studies to show that self-reporting is inaccurate and in the worst case even misleading. And so this has drastically affected the cost of of running a clinical trial. So you need a large number of patients in order to show effectiveness, and there's a lot of noise in those clinical trials because of self-reporting. Not any more than standard wired EEG. So the biggest risk would be irritation, skin irritation from the hydrogels or the adhesive. Well, first demonstrating that it works, which we're on a good track for that, and that that it can reliably stay placed for 7 days through the hair, and that a single channel is effective for doing just this. Most epileptologists are used to looking at a montage of EEG, and we're reducing that to a single channel. But we're using that wired montage to direct where we put our little device.